We are the Free Company of the White Stag. These are all weapons that we train with. We fight with each one of these. They're steel weapons. They date from the Viking Age, so your earlier 8th, 9th century. We have the standard Viking sword, axes. We also have the spears used during the time period, the difference with the one-handed style spears that you'd fight sword and shield with. These ones here are a little bit longer. They were known as like boar spears or wing spears. You could actually catch blades, catch different weapons on here. You'd either fight them with a shield or you would fight with just these ones. Historically, the Norse were also known to take these and throw them into battle. It was their first thing to do, is an offering to Othin, their god. We have the sax knife, which it looks like a small sword, but it's actually just a big knife. These were carried by the free people of the Nordic culture. The lower class weren't allowed to carry them. It was a mark of their status. So their huskarl, their jarls, and their warriors, male and female, would wear these. And then we move forward in time and we get into like the knightly era, your single-sized sword, arming swords, various different sizes. This is your typical Crusade era, knightly era shot. They'd use sword and shield a lot. Again, during that time period, you'd still have the spears being fought with and axes. Actually, more spears, axes, and knives on the battlefield than there was swords. Swords were vastly outnumbered by other weapons. They just get popularized because they look good on TV. Then we branch into from that era during the Knights, the Crusades, and we eventually get into the long swords. Now, a long sword, it's a longer sword than a lot of the other ones, but its main name comes from using it with two hands on the hilt. This is called long swording weapon. This is compared to short swording or half swording, where you actually grab the blade and fight against an armored opponent. By shortening up its length, you stiffen up the blade, gives you better precision, so you can catch the thrusts into the gaps of armor. So places like the throat, under the arm, backs of the knees. And if they're really particular at blocking your shots, trying to stab them, you can whip it around and hit them with the cross guard or the pommel, and it will actually concuss them through the armor, make them stumble, make them fall, and then they can't guard those little spots that you want to take them out at. Later into the time periods, you get these fancier basket weapons. These are a little bit heavier, strong in the cut, with good presence in the thrust. This developed as the firearm developed, because armor slowly diminished again, because the firearms kind of neutralized things. And so you had, once again, the shorter weapons coming back into popularity. They are also fancy, so noblemen and gentlemen love to use weapons like this to look good. And you kill your opponent, but a lot of this stuff slowly developed into a dueling culture that didn't kill people. You were trying to prove a point with the blade by drawing first blood versus actually trying to kill your opponent. Nobles want to live. They're not out there in the war, so they want to set up a rule system where they can survive and then brag about it. Both brag about stabbing someone, but also brag about the scars that they've gotten, proving that they're good with the blade. That kind of covers the wide berth of weapons that we fight with, that we train with. Each of these, from the one-handed sword up into the long sword, we have manuals for, whereas some of the earlier stuff, like the Viking blades, we don't have manuals from, so we have to study archaeological digs, how the swords were damaged, how the shields were damaged, the weights and the balances on each of these objects, so that we can learn how they fought, because while the weapons change, the human body still moves only so many different ways, and so we can figure out the language of their fighting based upon the remains and the damages that they left behind in the grave goods.